So in this video, we're going to talk about Article 4 and what that means. So the first thing to understand is what prior approval is. So everyone in the whole country has automatic planning permission to do certain things. We call them prior approval. You already have approval to do this. If you do that, those certain things, you don't need to get full planning permission. Now, full planning permission can be expensive. Okay, so prior approval is already given for quite a lot of things. If you Google prior approval and your council's website, then many things will come up, and there's a whole bunch of them, and they change and evolve with the time, and they're being simplified by the government as well. Now, Article 4 is when that prior approval is taken away. Okay, so for example, everyone in the country has permission to change a house, a C3 house, into a C4 HMO. Everyone has that permission automatically. If you do that, if you fulfill all the regulations on the council's website, for example, fire doors, thumb locks, smoke alarms interlinked, and so on, you fulfill all that, they cannot refuse you the HMO certificate. They can't. They have to give it to you because you've done everything in the list. It automatically becomes a HMO. Now, the only time they can refuse you is if there is an Article 4 direction, they call it, in that area, in that council area, and then you can't go and just convert a house to a HMO. What you then need is full planning permission. You need to do a full planning application to your council, your local council, and then they will look at the application. They can reject or accept it. Okay, so some areas, which areas become Article 4. The areas that become Article 4 are the areas with lots and lots and lots of HMOs. So in Greater Manchester, for example, there are 10 areas. These are the 3 Article 4 areas. Manchester, so the Manchester Centre and where Manchester Council are. Number 2 is Salford Council, and number 3 is Trafford Council. So these are the 3 areas which are Article 4. The other 7 are not Article 4. So in those areas, you can convert houses to HMOs. Of course, you want to make sure, if you're going to do that, there's demand for HMOs in those areas. If you convert a house to a HMO in an area where there's no demand, you won't get tenants. You can do it, but no tenants. So, but what you can't do is convert a house to a HMO in the Article 4 areas without full planning permission. So that should explain what Article 4 is. And if you want to know if your area is Article 4 or not, all you need to do is look on your council's website. They will have a list of the areas which are Article 4 and which are not. Some areas, such as in London, they actually have pockets of Article 4. So this area, this street to this street, they can be very specific. That this little area here is Article 4, this area is not. Some areas and areas in the whole country have the whole council area is Article 4 and full stop. So that is something to look into on the council's website. If it's Article 4, if it's not. Now, regards to Article 4, if you have a HMO in an Article 4 area, if you own it, that property, generally the value goes up. Why? Because it's now more in demand. There's a demand for HMOs in that area already, and the ability to change houses to HMOs has just gone down because of Article 4. Therefore, the price of those properties has gone up. So Salford, for example, became Article 4 in November 2019 or 2018, one of those 2 months, one of those 2 years. As soon as that happened, people couldn't do any more, so the ones that were there, prices went up. Therefore, in non-Article 4 areas where there's a HMO demand, it's a good thing to convert houses to HMOs, because when the Article 4 does come, which eventually may likely come, then the value will go even higher.